Let us talk about the different data types which are provided in C++. There are actually three classes or three groups of data types provided. The first is the fundamental or basic type which comes along with the C++ language. They can be of the type int, float, char, double, void and boolean. We'll take a look at all of these in a while. Derived data types. For example, arrays. You can build arrays using any of these particular data. Then you have something called as pointers, which are nothing but addresses of memory location, functions and references. And then last, you have user defined data types. Structures, unions, classes, enums. These are all created using some of these two. And this is known as user defined data type. Let's first take a look at what is data type. Data type, if I say int, it indicates that the variable is going to be integer. And because I say int, its range is going to be some defined value. And also the type tells me what type of operations I can do. For example, I cannot add numbers to your name. No point in adding numbers to your name. It's meaningless. Similarly, I cannot divide your roll number. It's of no consequence. So data type tells me what operations I can do. The simple data types which we are going to discuss are int, float, char, double and void. The derived ones are constructed using the fundamental or basic data types. Now let's first look at what do we mean by integer type of data. Whole numbers without any fractional parts, whether they are positive or negative, are known as integers. These are examples of int 99 minus 8, 58 and so on. Now, what is the range means what is the minimum and maximum value they can hold. Suppose I want to store an integer in a machine where int is given a size of 2 bytes. In 2 bytes, 1 bit is left for holding the sign. So only 15 bits are available for me. So in such a machine, I can store from generally minus 32,768 to plus 32,767 including 0. That is known as the range. Range indicates what is the minimum and maximum value that can be held on that particular hardware. Now, on integers, you can do addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and remainder or modulus operation, which is indicated by the percentage sign. Okay, you cannot do meaningless things with the integer. Now, the next type of data is a character type of data. You have seen a character constant. What is a character constant? If I do something like this, if I say char c is equal to y, okay, this y is a character constant, this c is a variable of the type character. So characters only can store a single character. They have a size of 8 bits or 1 byte allocated to them on the machine. They are always enclosed in single quotation marks. Now, although for me it is A, B, C and Z, but internally the compiler converts each character to its ASCII representation. For example, capital A is stored as 65, capital Z is stored as 90, small a is 97, small z is 122, and all those between take the other values. So the general form of declaring a character is something like this. Okay, char and name of the variable. So here I am declaring a variable called as name whose data type is character. It can store only one single character, that is A. So name contains A, or the memory location name contains A. Now let's take a look at the other two data types, which is float and double. All right, let me keep this here because this is relevant. Let's take this out. Okay. All right. So this fellow, we are going to talk about the float and double data type. So floating point means numbers which have, or which you call in maths the real numbers. They have both whole number and a decimal after that, an optional decimal. These are all examples of floating point number. This is in the exponential format. Now this e you can replace it by 10. So it is 1.2 10 raised to minus 5. Generally on most machines, floating point data takes up 4 bytes, that is 32 bits. If it takes 4 bytes, the range is minus 3.4 e raised to minus 38 to 3.4 e raised to 38 minus 1. That is the range of a floating point number. E represents the exponential notation. So anything before the E is the mantissa. E represents the magnitude or the exponent. All right. So we have discussed this in floating point constants. These are just floating point data or floating point variables. A floating point variable can be declared as something like this. Float f 2.3 e raised to minus 14. F indicates the name of the variable. Float is a keyword which indicates f is of a floating type of a data. Now let's understand what is double data type. Double data type is actually a double type of a floating point number. It means double precision, which indicates that after the decimal places, it has more significant numbers that can be stored. Generally, this only 6 significant numbers. This can store more than 6 significant numbers after the decimal point. On most of the modern machines which I and you are going to use, although in certain smaller systems it may change, generally double data type may occupy 8 bytes and its range is minus 1.7 e raised to minus 308 to 1.7 e raised to 308 minus 1. Now on the double data type, you can perform addition, subtraction, multiplication and division, but neither on float or on double you cannot use the remainder or the modulus operator to get the remainder after division. Now the general form of using a double type of a variable is like this. Double D, this is the value. Double is a keyword, D is the name of the variable, and this is the initial value I am giving it. So I hope this clarifies your understanding of the very fundamental or the basic data types which we are going to use in C++.